Gotta do the presentation mode thing, all the things. All right, here we go. All right, welcome to teaching the intermediate gifted cluster for yet another crazy year. Let's get started. All right, so this year will be a little bit different than years like everything else in this world. It's going to be a little bit different in that you will possibly have other kids, so that will be added. I can also probably tell you that the kids that you do have the kids that you have, kids that might be added will also not, they won't be moved to your class. So we probably, the chances of having other kids that are in other classrooms besides you all's are going to be pretty strong this year. There was no IQ testing done at all over the summer except for first graders that teachers recommended. So they recommended them, most of them were recommended during COVID, and then they central office people at the testing office just called those parents to come in, and they just went straight to IQ. We didn't even SAGES them because they didn't want them bringing them in for SAGES testing and then bringing them back in again for IQ. So they sent them all to IQ testing. And you would think our numbers were really big. We had 3 kids qualify and we tested 65. So we still have about 10 more to test, and so we'll see, and that's how it is. So that's first grade going into second grade. The other kids for all of the retesting, and then of course we did not NWEA test. So all of that's going to be done coming up here. So once NWEA testing comes, I will screen, but you know, we don't move classrooms, so they'll all be dispersed everywhere. So that's why I'm really going to rely on you all as team being the gifted cluster. You kind of will have to be our liaisons for the team this year. If you could, we're asking if you all will kind of have a time in, hopefully in August, 1st of September, right around NWA time, basically, when that's going on, to set up to talk on a Friday, because we are going to be in school then. If we can set up a time for you to talk to your team about what that means to be a cluster classroom, but really the qualifications, like how do kids get into gifted? Because a lot of our teachers still don't know how to, even if they've been here for a long time, they still don't understand. And then once a kid qualifies, then you're going to be the go-to person to have to talk them through all of that, because if they qualify, they weren't here for this training, and you're going to have to help them get set up for how to run life with a gifted student in their classroom. So that is, I mean, I will also be there as a support, but I'm saying you'll be probably their first go-to. So if you can kind of help them through that. The first thing that you want to print out and just kind of give to your team, it's what I send out every year, but you all know, you get a lot of emails, I know, and people don't read them because it doesn't pertain to them. If you click on the Here button there from our PowerPoint there, it takes you to the qualifications. This is what goes through. So if you just want to print that out, you can print it out and hand it out to all of them at your meeting. It just walks you through the process. Now I know that Deanna sent out the new norms for NWA. There are new norms. And so I will get those to you because she sent out a thing saying there are new norms, but she doesn't have, for fall, we are going still with the 95th percentile. So I don't know what the 95th percentile is, and she did not either at this exact moment. So she's going to go look that up. She's going to have to do a little bit more in digging and finding that out from them. So we got the general, there was that 6-page sheet that they sent us out, but not, there's a big thick packet of all of the testing and all the scores and whatever all that looks like. So as soon as I get those numbers, I will let you know exactly what the numbers are. We don't do 90th percentile in the fall because teachers don't know the students well enough at that point. So that's why, and we're sticking with that, especially since they haven't even been in school since March. So we're just going to leave it with that. Then I will, if it's 95th percentile, then I do that. I can get in and see all. I have a meeting tomorrow. For NWA, I see all the scores for NWA, so then I can get in and do that. I send it out. They don't have to. The only time that I can't, that you might need to check that out, is in the 90th percentile. If you have a student who a parent, and you might tell this to other people too, if a parent's already asking, my student should be able to be retested. What do they need to have? Like they're already, because a lot of times, like, oh, we're not having open house, but they'll already be emailing you saying, my child should be able to be tested for gifted again this year. So I'm going to show you all, first of all, so you can walk it through with your team if you don't know how to check. Well, let me look. Thumbs up. Do you know how to check an SIS if a child has been tested before and if they're ready to be tested again? Yes? No? Okay. So I will show you. So let's do that really quick. And I'm probably gonna need help here with a student name. If somebody can be thinking of a student name for me, first of all, it's easiest if you go in Classic, okay? I can't find the assessment tab as easily in 360, so I just always go in Classic, all right? Now, does somebody know a student who has been tested before and didn't qualify? That they've had?
Melody said Cooper.
Oh, okay. Would that work?
Cooper's not been tested though.
Yvette Gallery has been tested and didn't qualify.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. What did I spell wrong?
It's Y on her first name.
Oh,
Yvette is Y-V-E. Yeah.
so here's an example. I click on the assessment tab. That's the grid with all the dots, okay? And if they've been tested, there'll be a gifted tab. If they've never been tested before, then there's no gifted tab. It just says map and NWA, okay? So if you click on the gifted tab, then you're gonna see all of this stuff. So SAGES, this means, this is better. The one I did in the other one, it was a little awkward. Okay, and I'll explain why. So SAGES, she was given a SAGES test. Yes, she passed. So she scored high enough. So IQ, she was given an IQ test. No, she did not, I'm sorry. She did not score a 125 or higher, okay? So because she did not score 125 or higher, she did not qualify. That was in 2017. So here's what it says. Future IQ, she can be tested again. So there's a yes there. That means she did score a 116 or higher, okay? The last person that we pulled up had an in there. That means they did not score a 116 or higher in the other group. And I was like, okay, so that was probably like confidential information, probably should have been for everybody, the whole world to see. So that means if this year Yvette scores in the 90th percentile or higher on on reading and math, it has to be both, then she could be sent straight to IQ again. Okay, so her teacher, you know, if her teacher's seeing, or if her parent calls and says, this should be like, you know, but I don't see those. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't have a list of all the kids who could possibly be retested again. So, but if a parent wants to be retested, or if a teacher says, oh, this kid I really think shows up on my radar, okay, as somebody who I think should be looked at again, and then they score, and then I've noted, and they hit 90th percentile, let me know, and then I can send them. Does that make sense? So that's where I need you all and your teachers to be aware of those kids, because those are the ones who could fall through the cracks and not get retested again. And she may have only missed it by 1 or 2. And so this is what I always tell my that doesn't mean they're not gifted. You all are not the only ones that are gifted. It just means you're the only ones that I can serve. So I tell them that all the time, because a kid who scored a 124, they're not the only, that doesn't mean they're not gifted. It just means that Branson says I can't serve them because they got a 124. Because at any time in your life, you can go up or down, they say 7 points. Well, your whole life, you're gifted or you're not. You don't become gifted one year and then you aren't gifted the next year. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how we explain it. So because you got 124 this year, and next year I could give it to you and you are 128, 130, you know. So anyway, to be aware of that, that could be something that you always want to be aware of. It's got to be 2 years. They have to wait 2 years before they can be retested. But just to kind of be aware, if you see a kid who's really, you know, always asking the good questions, always seems to get it right away, you might go in and check and then see how many years has it been. They have to wait 2 years to be retested and then go. So, because they could be anywhere this year for testing.
On that screen, like, she was tested this year at the beginning of this past school year, but that date didn't show up in SIS just now. That's how I know she tested and didn't.
Tested again?
Yeah.
All right. I'll go back and look. So
That's
she was
put in my class because you guys were testing her.
okay.
Had the potential of qualifying, and then she didn't qualify.
So she didn't qualify again. Okay. So, and then once they've been tested twice, then we usually don't test again. If it's, you know what I'm saying? Because, and here's the reason why keep putting them through that every 2 years unless they really want to, you know what I'm saying? Because it's very stressful for them. Generally, if you have 2 no's, we don't just like, so if she hits 5th grade, well, that would have been, she's going into 5th grade.
Yes, she is. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, 4th grade. Okay.
It didn't
So
show
she
up in
was
the
going, okay, I'll look to see why she didn't get put in. But if she was going into 6th grade, that would be waiting 2 more years. We probably wouldn't test her again if she already had 2 no's. You see what I'm saying? Because we did have that happen in the past, and it was stressful on the kid, and that's when they made that change. That's when we had it happen a lot back, you know, about 7 or 8 years ago. We were testing kids all the time, and parents were like, why do you keep doing this to my kid? They keep getting rejected and it's too much. So the team met, and the people who test said, we don't want to do this anymore. So after twice, it'll go to no matter what. But after just the once, then, but okay, so there's your example of Yvette was tested already, again, even though it wasn't in there. So they need to go in there and add it. All right, so does everybody understand, clear as mud now, how that works? So if you could explain that, how to find it with your teachers, how to find it in SIS, how kids qualify, that sheet is right there. You can click it. It's also in the shared drive. So in your shared drive, there is a gifted cluster 2021 folder. It's in there. There's also a whole intermediate thing full of resources for you all. And I'll keep adding to that as and if you ever see something you think is great for other teachers, if you want to send it to me, I can add it to it also. Like I said, you may have other teachers joining your cluster this year because we tested no one, and we usually test about 120, and about 70 of those, 75 of those are first graders, incoming first graders, and the rest are all the others. So this year we only tested the first graders. So that shows you about how many we probably still might have to test after NWA happens and retesting. All right, the second thing that I'll probably need your help on this year is Math 2.0. Again, the new one is up. I believe they have everything ready for you all to be pushed out to you. Normally we do that in this training, but that's when I usually have you for like an hour and a half, and then we all sit down and go through it together. Though, if you click on that Math 2.0 challenge training, it will take you to the instructions. Here's the thing about the instructions. If you click on it, you have to follow the instructions carefully. Like, that's the most important thing. Every year we have a teacher or two that doesn't type in this part right here. I'll even highlight it so that they understand this part exactly like it's supposed to, and where the line is where you type in your last name. And what we did was even, not the dashes though. So I even went and typed in, now I don't have the new teachers because I don't even have all your rosters. So if you want to send me who your new teachers are at your other grade levels, I don't even know who they all are anymore. Y'all are, there's a lot of them. So if you want to let me know who your new teachers are and each of those grade levels, I can change it. I know, I think 4th grade, at least I've got right at Buchanan. And that's all I know for sure, because you just had -1. So the rest of them, I think, may have all changed, but that's exactly how you should type it. And so it's on the very last page there. So 4th grade, it just goes through. Okay, and then the reason why it has to also be typed there, make sure it's typed correctly there, like I spelled your name right and everything, is because this is also the sheet that people that are the Canvas people, they have to go in and link your account. Remember how then you have to email me once you've done your part, then the Canvas people in each building then have to go in and link the accounts. So they have to have exactly how you did it, right? And so that is what this is, the list of exactly what they're called in your account. So this is what they need to be called in your account. So if you can follow those directions, have your teachers set up a time to go through and follow those directions. And the reason why that's going to be so important is, again, to challenge the gifted kids to go above and beyond when they're finished with the regular work. And that will be important then for the whole team, because the gifted Pirate Challenge kids may be spread out a lot more than normal this year. Remind your team, and you all, I have too many problems with you all doing it. It's just other team members, that it's important not to say the first one, like your child is, because I got it quite a few times last year, and I hadn't gotten it in a couple years, but I got it again, that, well, the teacher said, now I know sometimes parents just say that the teacher said and the teacher really didn't say. So I'm just putting it out there again, that my kid was far above, and well, the teacher said my child should qualify for gifted. And I don't know why they're not already in gifted. So just try to not use those words. It's better to say they're excelling in class, so they met the first criteria by my observations and NWA scores, which means they could qualify for gifted services. I try never to say they're gifted. I just always talk about gifted services, and that tends to help. If you look at the observation form that they, you have to fill out if you hit the 90th to 95th, 94th percentile, you also have to have a teacher recommendation. If you click on that and you look at the observation form, it's usually not your straight A students who are gifted. Those are usually your high achievers, your high ability learners, and that's this. And so even if you wanted to print this out, sometimes that's, if you haven't worked with gifted, I know we have a couple that are new, so welcome, we're excited to have you. But the thing that might surprise you, and if you're just started, I know we have a couple that have just started working last year was your first year, and you haven't got to come to this yet. So this is a list that might surprise you or might not now that you've had them a year. But the high achiever is the first column, and a gifted learner is the second column. So a few of the things that might pop out to you might be like the good memorizer, like they memorize things really fast. That's usually your high achievers. Gifted kids usually aren't quick memorizers. They're good guessers, but they're not great memorizers because they don't see the point. They don't always have the math facts, your multiplication facts memorized, because why do I need to know that? So if I don't have a reason for knowing that, then I'm not going to waste my time memorizing that. So they're usually one of the last ones to actually have their math facts memorized, which surprises a lot of teachers. They'll be like, they come to you and they still don't know their multiplication facts. Yeah, that's actually not a surprise for a lot of them. The big thing is, and why they need the Math 2.0 is the repetition part. So a high achiever will still probably need 6 times repetition to get mastery of something brand new. But a gifted learner only needs 1 to 2 times hearing it, and they'll start forming those patterns right away and they understand. So they only need to hear you explain it once or twice, and they could do that worksheet and they can be on to what that looks like in the 7th or 8th grade, which is what the 2.0, Math 2.0 is. So that's why it's helpful to go ahead and have that set up so that they can go ahead and start working, especially if we go AMI out, so they can continue to work on getting higher for that. So those are some things if you want to kind of go through, and even with your team, so they kind of understand a high achiever versus a gifted. They're the ones who usually question you, and that's why you really need to have a heart, I think, for gifted kids, because they're gonna question you. They're not meaning to be disrespectful, and we talk a lot in our classroom about doing that respectfully. How do you do that? Because they want, and I'm terrible if you know about Sherry Poor. Spelling, I'm spelling, punctuation, that's my issue. So I do it on purpose, sometimes not on purpose, and then they want to correct me. So how do you do that appropriately? So I like to tell them I make mistakes on purpose just so you can then correct me the polite way, the respectful way. How do you go about doing that? And so not to be rude in front of a whole classroom, because that's what they do. They want to call you out on the first thing, really, is that necessary? Like, do you really need to correct that right there? Well, other kids will then start spelling that wrong, Mrs. Braun, if you continue to do that. Well, good point, but let's think of a better way. So we do have those conversations with me, and if you have a child who continues to do that, let me know, because we do have those conversations. So if you get one that's like that, especially if they're new to Parent Challenge, some of them I already know who they are, and we're working on it. But if you have one, let me know so I can work with them through those things. All right, so resources for you that you may or may not know about. The shared drive gifted cluster has a lot. There's one just for intermediate. I continue to add those things to those. If somebody shares something with me they think would be great, let me know, I can add it. If you don't know what choice boards are, you can click there. It's a SMORE document that explains all the choice boards. But then there is a folder in the drive with tons of choice boards of all different kinds for you that are already made up that you could probably use that go with a lot of the things. If you make one and it already goes with our curriculum here in Branson for your gifted kids, if you could share that with me, I will put that in our drive. That would be awesome. Then we could, as gifted cluster teachers, start using those. That would save us all a lot of time, so that would be great as well. I think, especially with the time we're in right now, these thinking routines would be something that could be really a positive for your gifted kids to work through. And that might be something you want to look at. We're not going to look at them right now. I'm just giving them for you to go through. I'll give you some work time in a little bit that you could click back on later. Instant challenges. Those are a lot of the STEM kind of challenges, but they're quick. They could also, a lot of them are things they would have around the house. So you could even post some of those instant challenges. So zones. This is what we use, the gifted workbook. I will be bringing these to your classrooms for the kids to use. I will be, and I'll be talking about how Heart Challenge Share works in just a minute, but this has the zones of regulation. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that. If you have SPED kids, you may have to do zones of regulation with some of them. We use zones of regulation with gifted kids a lot. So gifted kids, the affective part of gifted, they feel things more extreme in extremes, a lot more than a regular child. So especially right now, you might find when they come back, their anxieties might be a lot higher. They may be a little bit more an extreme of something. They feel more intensely. They are the ones who really are going to be understanding about what's really happening with COVID. Others may be kind of, yeah, it's happening. Your gifted kids are going to probably know a lot of facts about it. They're probably going to want to share a lot of facts about it. They're probably going to be concerned, and maybe the ones that are really particular about the kids wearing the masks and he's too close to me, he's not keeping his distance, all of those things, because they are more intense about everything. So you might just kind of be aware of that the first couple days, especially. Just kind of keep an eye out on your gifted kids, because again, they do just feel things more intensely. So how they're reacting, just to kind of get a feel for them, to kind of put them at ease. And so the zones help with that. And so if they've had me, if they've already been in a Pirate Challenge before, we've been talking about zones. We talked about zones a lot when they were out. If they came to the Google Meets, each time we'd start off with what zone are you in? Are you red, yellow, or green? And then we talk about things you can do to get back down. Like Angelique had one last year. And he got to where he could tell you what zone he was in and then what activity he could do to get him back to a green. And it's not that being a yellow is bad, and that's what we tell him. Being a yellow isn't bad. It's just, can you regulate if this is appropriate? Because like when we're at a football game, being in the red zone and excited because we're winning is a great thing. But then when I'm in a classroom and people are working around me, I can't be in a yellow or red. I need to be in a green. So how can I regulate to be in a green? What could I do? And then he could come up with activities even to get back into the green. And he came up with that list, and they have their lists. Now that'll be one of our first activities, is for them to journal their activities of how to get them back through that, what they can do. So those will be some things that they'll work on pretty quick, and that comes out of this book. So if you're not familiar with the zones, that may be something that you want to familiarize yourself with, just so you can have the same language as they do with that. Like I said, you will get this workbook for your classroom, but they don't write in them. That's just for them to read out of when it's time for their assignment. All right, so this, the next couple pages, AMI, that's what it's called when we leave. We go out, if you're not familiar with that yet. So if they shut us down, not just your classroom, but they shut the whole school down, it's called AMI. So this is some ideas for gifted kids. The first one is like, so if you want them to work on creative thinking skills, that's the first column. Second column is what you would do with them if they were seated. Third column is what you could do with them then online for that same activity. And then the last column is if you had to send them home with paper, then what would that look like for paper? So those are just some activities. A lot of it's the more for like ideas for me, but I thought you all might also like to see them, because I think there are things, I mean, for all kids too. And there might be some things that you haven't seen before. So I thought you might like to see that list. So lots of things to look at. So you're like, wait a minute, why am I going to get a workbook for me? And you're talking about assignments. So what is all of that about? Because Pirate Challenge is only going to be served through Canvas this year. So they do not want the kids getting on a bus and coming and switching buildings. They also don't want me going out, so, and crossing. So they have said that I will be serving through Canvas only, and that as long as we're doing Branson Bubble. And so that's kind of the term somebody has used, so I like to use that. So what, as long as we're doing Branson Bubble, then that is how we're going to be serving all of the Pirate Challenge kids. So here's how that is going to work. On Mondays, I will push out my announcement. It's once a week instead of every day, because they get the announcement and then that's what they work through for the week. No matter what day they would normally come to me, it'll come to them on Monday. That way they have the full week, and you all have some leeway as to how you're going to work it. It sounded like for intermediate, with the principals, when they got together, they liked the idea of then if it went out on Monday morning, then when it was intervention time, that's what your Pirate Challenge kids then every day during intervention, they could get on during intervention time then, and that's what they would be working on each day during their intervention. They would be working in Canvas. So just send them to Pirate Challenge Canvas during their intervention time, and then that's what they would be working on their assignment until it was finished. So that's kind of the logic that they have with that. The activities, the assignments need to be finished by the end of the school day on Friday. I did want you to know some of them will be them videoing back to me. So at some point they will have to be talking into a thing. So they will, of course, need headphones, but I think we're going to need that no matter what. But they'll have to talk back into a video for recording too. Now, if we go AMI, and that's only if we go AMI, then I can Google Meet. So I can't Google, cannot Google Meet when they're with you all. But if we go AMI and everybody goes home, then I know like a lot of you will start doing your Google Meets. Then you will set up times for Google Meets, or I know a lot of you played the fun game. What's it called that you would race? Casey, what's that called? Or Sherry, that you did?
GimKit.
What is it?
GimKit?
Yes, GimKit.
GIMKIT.
Yes. So when I wanted to go ahead and give you my time now for when I'll be meeting, because I know that was a problem. Sometimes the kids were torn because it was time for my Pirate Challenge Google Meet, and then it was a GimKit time. Somebody had a GimKit time. Somebody had a class meeting time. So and what I did was, it's always going to be the first 30 minutes of when they normally will come to me if it was real Pirate Challenge. So when we get back to, regular school, I would call it regular, whatever we're calling it, when they can normally start coming to Pirate Challenge again. So we're hoping January, let's January. So 4th grade, I'm going to be serving on Tuesday afternoons. This is what I know Buchanan Intermediate schedule. I have not seen a Cedar Ridge schedule. So I just am guessing it's the same as last year. If somebody at Cedar Ridge wants to check and see if that's going to be a big problem, if you're not the same as last year.
I actually have the schedule up.
Awesome. If you want to look,
So
nobody said it to me. So I have 4th grade is Wednesday afternoons, just like last year.
Yep.
So that works still.
Uh-huh.
And 5th grade was Thursday afternoons, and 6th grade was Thursday mornings.
So you're wanting to know, will they miss specials?
Yes. 6th grade Thursday mornings
Yes, that's fine.
for gifted, and then 5th grade is Thursday afternoon.
5th grade has specials. They're all 200 rooms, right? Let me look.
Yeah.
5th grade has specials like
Rooms. We're all
5th grade
two rooms, and I think I know I have specials for either 12 or 12:30 every day but Friday.
Yeah, specials are spread out from 12 to the end to 3 in the afternoons for 5th grade.
And 6th grade?
No, yes. 6th grade and afternoon specials.
Yeah, so that's a problem because I've only have CRI on Thursdays. So if you both have specials in the afternoons only, that's why one of you. So you'll have to figure out, I think on the day on Thursday, whatever special you have, they'll have to go to specials with another class or something in the morning, I guess. I don't know. And here's me. We'll worry about it, I guess. Is it? Okay.
Remember, we were afternoon, 6th grade was afternoon last year, and our kids went to specials to library at a different time.
There you go.
And Hamilton's went with another class. So
yeah.
We
So
can
now
figure
it's-
it out.
So now it's 5th grade's time to do that. Now it's 5th grade's turn to do that. So 6th grade did it last year, maybe that's why he did it that way.
Yeah.
So now it's 6th grade's turn to 5th grade's turn. You'll just have to go with another class to your specials. So, and now with Google Meet, these will be the times then that I meet with those kids, but we'll only do it for 30 minutes. I'll just get on for 30 minutes and then they'll continue to do Canvas for the rest of the time, but that'll just give us some time to check
But
in.
these
And
meeting times are only if we're AMI. Other than
Correct.
that, it won't matter.
Correct. Yes, only AMI. But I also just put those days and times on there so that you all also know, like those are although the 9 a.m. times, it's really 8:30 when I start serving kids. See what I'm saying? But for 4th grade, when I start really serving, like, okay, I can't say that. What's the correct way? So when I start pulling kids for service, okay, 4th grade is going to be for Buchanan Intermediate is going to be Tuesdays from 1 to 3:30. So they'll leave from my classroom. Okay, so if you want to write that down, so just so you have it. Cedar Ridge, they'll leave like they did last year, 4th grade, Wednesdays, but they get to me at 12:30. It'll be exactly the same time. Then they get back on the bus at 3. So they're back to you at 3:10 or whatever, I think. But they get on the bus at 12:10 or whatever. So it'll be the same when we start busing. 5th grade, Buchanan, it'll be 1 to 3:30. They'll leave from me. And I think somebody misses a recess Fourth grade misses recess every year. Fourth grade misses recess at Buchanan. Also, Cedar Ridge, Thursdays, it's 12:30, just like it was last year. They're back a little after 3. Sixth grade, Buchanan, it's really 8:30 to 11 is your time. But we can't Google Meet when we're AMI until 9. District rule. Okay, that's what I was told. I don't know. So that's why it's 9, but they'll actually come to me. You know, they get on their bus at 8:30 like they did last year for Cedar Ridge on Thursdays. And Buchanan, that's why we don't Google Meet till 9. Okay. Any questions about any of that? And you don't really have to like share that with the kids. I'll put that all out in an announcement along with the link, but I just wanted you to know up front. So if it happens and you got to schedule anything, you have it. So I was just trying to get it all out front for that, if that makes sense. All right, now for things that we need to kind of discuss for this year, feedback. So I'm supposed to, you know, have that whole feedback thing that I have to do every year. And so what that looks like for those of you that are new, the feedback is, so kids are supposed to have goals. So gifted kids should have a goal. And then each month we're supposed to, you're supposed to monitor how the kids are doing on that goal. And so the question is, how are we going to monitor that goal? And so I did Google Forms last year. And when I did the Google form, I felt like, well, how do I put, well, some people were really great about sending it back right away. And then I felt like I was hounding, and I don't like to hound or whatever. So I'm asking for other ideas about that, if that makes sense. So any ideas of how to do that? Now, second and third graders, I've already met with them. They suggested, first of all, I think that this year the goals should only be the executive functioning goals. And if you're not sure what executive functioning goals are, what that means, if you go to the gifted cluster folder in Drive, you will see all of them. Okay, so if you go to gifted functioning, there is a sheet in there with all of them. It deals with organization and follow through. So I think that goes perfect with the whole Canvas and getting Canvas ready, you know, that whole getting them on Canvas, following through with assignments, staying organized. Are we in school or out? You have to leave every day like you're not coming, we might not come back tomorrow. You know, all those kinds of things that this crazy time has put us in. I think that's why it's a great idea to have that as one of their main goal from day one. Start talking to them about the whole executive functioning and being, because gifted kids have, a lot of them have a problem either with follow through or organization. So if we can look at some of those, let them pick one, which one do they want to focus on? Maybe that could help. Then that might be a easier outlook on it. I don't know, whatever works for you. So if we put it in a form, they suggested putting it in a form, and then you click which one of the executive functions your child chose for their goal, then maybe rating them a 1 to 10, how they think they're doing right now, and then an area for comments. I thought that might be faster and easier for each kid. I don't know. If you have other ideas, I would love to hear them. that would be the big thing. Thoughts, any ideas that you would have? But because I'm not actually going to see them in person, that's my biggest worry, is I don't know how they're really doing at all through all of this because I can't see them.
I have a question.
Yes.
As somebody that you have formerly hounded, I'm pretty sure we're all guilty a little bit on that one. I think for me, there's always a little bit of a disconnect with what are they doing with you in Gifted versus what they're doing in my classroom. And so sometimes it was hard for me to give specific feedback because I didn't know, I guess, necessarily what they were working on for you. And so I wish there was a way that the kids had to communicate to us, whether that's one of the earlier learning how to write an email lesson, like, this is my goal, this is what I'm wanting to work for in Gifted. Because you're right, because they're not going to be with you, it's going to be us who are really supervising them and making sure that, like, have you guys done your Gifted work on Canvas? So I was wondering, even if, like, you sent, like, I don't know how often the assignments are changing in Canvas, but to even just send a little email to us with a blip of, like, here's kind of an overview of what they're working on, just so we kind of have a heads up and can kind of ask specifically what they're doing.
Okay, so here's the thing that's going to help with that a little bit. So
Okay.
in Canvas, I've made all of you observers. So you
Okay.
are actually observers now in Canvas. You should be able, now there's nothing there right now because I haven't got them up yet, but you are observers in your grade levels class. So you'll be able to go into 6th grade, and because you're an observer, I think you'll get my announcement on Monday. So you'll get the announcement and it'll tell what they have to do for the week. So then you can kind of see, so did you get, I don't think I ever saw you working on, you know, your CSI project or whatever it is, because I don't know how I'm going to even do CSI this year. So I got to kind of think through.
Save it for the spring.
We may have to, yeah, we may have to, and we've done virtual worlds in the past, and I know they didn't vote on that, but we may do the giver and the virtual world stuff instead this semester, and get into more of that for 6th grade just because of it being online versus that. So that might be something we have to work on instead. But yes, Sherry.
So I like the rating scale, but can we do 4, 3, 2, 1? Because they get that, and you know, like advanced, proficient.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Instead of 1 to 10, that's kind of a broad range. I don't know. I think 4, 3, 2, 1 might
So
be easier.
is four is advanced
Yes.
and 1 is beginner. What are your terms you use?
So advanced, proficient, basic, below basic.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay.
I'm just thinking mappy. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
And then I think it might help because I had chatted a question of, will you let us know, like, I feel like they'll probably, a lot of them will tell us, oh, I'm done with that. I'm done with that. But is it up to par? Is it what you expect? You know?
Right.
So if we could maybe get an email between the 3 of us, you, the student, and the teacher, maybe every week or every 2 weeks, with just communicating with us where they're at on their Canvas work.
I don't want to make it, how about like monthly?
Okay.
I don't want to make it overabundant for you. Like, one more thing you have to hound them about. Like, I want to be the one that has to, if they're not getting their Gifted work done, let me like deal with them and give them some time to, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want you to have to hound them after just a week. You know what I mean? Now, if it's the first week, I might just let you know, hey, can you remind them? Just remind them, keep working on it. You know what I'm saying? But that's not going to be, I don't want that to be like a always thing. Now, if we go AMI and I don't see them and they're not doing Canvas, but you do see them, then I might use you to check in with them if I can't get a hold of them, like in that way. But that's, otherwise I will, of course, monthly still check in and go, okay, so I'm not executive function goal, they're not doing so great for me. You know what I'm saying? Like in that, but I also don't want to burden you all with, all right, Nick's not turning in anything again. All right, Nick's not turning anything in. You know, Pearson's not doing his work. Pearson's not doing his work. I don't want that to be another, oh my gosh, if I get another email from Braun about Pearson, I'm going to go crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want that to be another annoying thing for you. So, you know, that's like, I feel like on me. But yes, I do want to communicate. Also, because I would want to know if they're not doing the work for you. If they're just barely getting by for you, then I want to have that conversation with them. Why are you just barely getting by right now? Like, you know, try some of that math 2.0 kind of thing, you know. So I think that would be a good monthly. I will still say yes. And I think you're right. That would be great. If I could figure out how to do that with all three of us, it would be a great conversation. Anybody have ideas of how to get all three people involved in that? Nick, do you, like, technology wise, what would be a tool that all three people, and that we could even document, you know what I'm saying? That then it could be a document thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we could continue to see our progress even between all three people.
It's very simple, but you could always just have a shared like Google Sheet where you had like a log. You could just go enter date and.
Yeah, and that's what we've done in the past, like just between teachers, and each person took a different color, and then so a student got a column too to write.
Mm-hmm.
So and could you put it off on the students where that's one of their weekly assignments, to fill out their square and bring it to the teacher, and then you guys have a conversation about it. The teacher could fill out their part, and then you can see what we've done together. Like, I would remember to do it if it was the student's job to bring it to me.
Yes. And when you say bring it, that means bring their computer to you and show it to you on their
Yep,
Google
just like
Drive.
I would, yeah, like if I maybe conferencing, reading, writing, whatever, that would just be a conference I would add with them.
That
Fill it out together.
I love that idea.
That's not bad.
So if you just conference, that's just an assignment. And I would say the assignment would only be 2 weeks. Like check in every 2 weeks on how you're doing on your goal, not weekly. Because we all got stuff to do, right?
Well, and then I think they would see that we are a part of that too. Like
Yes.
it's that responsibility, and it's not us funding, it's them being responsible and sharing their education with us. Like,
And here's the thing, if I can make it week 1 and 3 is me, they'll conference with me on week 1 and 3, and then they'll conference with you on week 2 and 4. So therefore, they're always going to be conferencing with one of us on their progress, but you'll get to see on the document what we said, and then what you all say, what we say, what you all say. What do you think about that? And then on the Excel. Okay, so we'll do that in Excel and see how they can go back and delete. Is the thing. They can go back and edit everything is the only thing.
As long as you're doing it in sheets, there's the revision history. So you can
Oh, that's true. History. You're right. Okay.
So are you going to give them the directive every week, or are you only going to give them the directive for your week and we give them those, you know what I'm saying? Like assignment for our week.
Well, the assignment will be to have a conference with your teacher to discuss your goals. So then they'll bring their computer, to take your computer to the teacher to have a conference, discuss your goal or something, whatever I'll say to discuss that week. And then you'll just, when they bring the computer, then you'll know to pull that up too and type it in, or you can type it in on their computer even. I mean, because you'll have rights. So you can type it right in on theirs, but just change your color to be your typing, and then they change it to be their color.
Right.
right? Wouldn't that be the way to do it? And I think if they bring their computer to you, you could just type it on their computer, yes, versus having your own computer there?
You could. I would probably still type it on mine just so the document would have a record that it came from me.
That's true. Yes, good point. Okay. Yeah, very good point. I can see that being. But really, you did say I was amazing, Mom. Yeah, okay, good deal. All right, so that should be everything we have for, those are the big things. If you want
I have
to,
one question.
okay, sign the form before you leave. If you have to leave, check out the Canvas page that's already been made as the observer, and then follow the steps for the 2.0. Yes, now what's your question? If you have to go.
No, my question is, are you going to be conferencing with on the executive function, or is that just us conferencing with them on that and you're going to pick something else to conference with them on?
No, I'll still talk to them about executive functions too and how it's relating to Pirate Challenge.
So will they have another goal with you?
Probably not. No, I think the goal this year should be executive function, some executive functioning for the whole thing.
Okay. So they'll just
Yeah.
have one with us and you're going to conference on the same one? They won't have
In fact, hopefully I will be able to talk them. It might even be good if I can help them with the executive function. They pick their goal and type it in already before they get to you.
Okay.
Maybe. Maybe that can be one of my assignments. Now, normally I don't start serving them until like, towards the end of September because we wait, until NWA is over. But I want to get them on Canvas and going before we AMI. So my goal is to get them on like in 2 weeks to get something on like by week 2. So not the first full week of school, but by second week of school, I hope to have something up so they can at least see how it works. So like the first full week of school, I'll invite them and I'll send out an email to all of you saying, have them go get logged on to Canvas, and they might need some help on that day, but just to say, and they should be pretty quick, you know what I mean? They'll get that invite because I'll invite them all through email. So they'll already be enrolled in my class that way and get them started just so they see how it works. So normally, like I said, I don't show till later, but I want to go to full class in case we're gone. Then I won't see them. That makes sense. So, and I may not have as much for them going until October. Like they may not have near as much to do at the beginning. It might just be, just a fun page or two at the beginning until the big lessons don't usually start till October. So it won't be much. It may just be like a goal, your executive functioning things, little lighter things at the first. We can get some of those things established. Sound good? Yes.
I can't find the shared drive folder.
So you should go to My Drive. Here, just a second, I can share it. I can show you. If you go to over here, shared drives. Gifted clusters 2021. It's under G. They should all be in alphabetical order. You see it? You don't have as many shared drives as I do, but. I can make sure your name's there.
I'm good. I got it. Okay.
Awesome. Yay, your fire alarms. That's what we all need also is fire alarms. I wondered why you were doing this, Sherry. I was like, oh no, am I stressing her out? No, it's a fire alarms. Joyful, joyful. Yeah, Yes. All right. So make sure you sign in. And yeah, it should be not view only. I was just not supposed to open it up till we were almost done. So it's opened. I opened it up. So you may have to refresh if you opened it up early, but it should be open. And I won't see you unless I see you because I'm out a lot. I just can't be apparently out in your buildings. Anyway, so let me know if you need anything. Just send me an email. And like I said, I'll be coming around with the books and the resources then that will stay in your classrooms. You'll get this book, if these two books, that'll be 5th and 6th grade, that'll stay in the classrooms if the kids need it. 4th grade, you'll get these 2 books that will stay in your classrooms for the kids as they need them. That will be part of what they need for their homework or whatever, assignments, not really homework, but schoolwork. So that's it. You all are amazing. Thank you so much. And text me if you need anything. Bye, guys.